Andertons. I'm Chappers and Andertons, about to check out some of these fantastic new Jet City amplifiers.
We're really excited today because Jet City is a brand new amp brand. The very first shipment into the UK has arrived at Andertons, and I want to tell you a little bit about the background behind Jet City, how it's come about, and the amps that we're going to show you today. Jet City is a great story. A couple of American guys who have about 20 years plus industry history, working with some big American brands, and both these guys work closely with some of the best known brands in the world, helping them set up their production in the Far East. And the concept behind this was they weren't going to go and design their own amplifiers, but they were going to approach some of the world's best known guitar amp makers and ask them to design an amp for them that they would make under license under Jet City. They were going to go to the really top-end boutique guys, the guys with tiny workshops making a few amplifiers a week, selling amps for thousands and thousands of pounds to pro players, and they were going to ask those guys to design some amplifiers that they would take to the Far East, look after all the production, all the quality control, look after the sales, and pay the designer a royalty for each amp that he sold. So the first guy that they picked to approach was a guy called Michael Soldano. Michael Soldano makes Soldano amplifiers, some of the most sought after, desirable, boutique, high gain amplifiers in the world. Not only did he come up with some designs for Jet City, he was so excited about it, he decided he would buy some shares in Jet City, and he's now actually one of the co-owners of Jet City. Probably the most famous amplifier that Mike Soldano ever made was the SLO, stands for Super Lead Overdrive. It's a 100-watt all-tube monster of an amplifier, and the Jet City 100 is very closely designed around the SLO circuit. Essentially, we've just got two basic settings. We've got a normal preamp, which will do a clean through to a sort of a pushed vintage drive sound, and then we've got overdrive for the higher gain settings. Shared EQ, separate master volume for each channel, no reverb, no effects loop, nothing fancy, just straight through 5 12AX7s in the preamp, 4 6L6s in the power amp. Sounds awesome. The Jet City 100, which as I said before is based on the SLO design, sells for £699, so a fraction of what a real SLO would cost you.
That's a really nice
sound.
Yeah, that's tight, really tight too.
Yeah, I love it. You can hear all the bass end coming out. So, now on to the stuff you've been really waiting for. We flip this button, we go to the overdrive channel. We're already on maximum because there's really no other place to be on this, is there? And this is really what the SLO is all about.
was in a warehouse, I spotted something else special that is very rare to get hold of nowadays, which is a very unique overdrive pedal.
Indeed.
And I badgered Captain here and said we should really put one through one of these here and see what it sounds like.
I agree. Let me get it for you. Back in a mo. Chappers spotted this in our warehouse, and he's absolutely right. It's a very, very hard to get hold of drive pedal by a very small company in America run by a guy called Chris Campbell called Rockbox. And this is the boiling point overdrive pedal. We've been trying to get hold of these from Chris at Rockbox for the last 6 months or so. He's managed to send me 1 or 2 batches already, but they're incredibly back-ordered and incredibly hard to get hold of. But we had a delivery yesterday. Chappers saw I had a few left on the shelf, so we had to try it. Several controls on here. We have a gain setting here. We have a drive setting here, which is actually like a click-style knob that you can go through several different drive styles. Tone, bass boost on and off, and more boost selecting over here. So I've chosen, I mean, we just literally dialed up a tone without really too much mucking around here. There's a ton of
boost, isn't there?
Yeah, there's a lot of boost on here. Actually, I liked it with the bass boost on. So here's a clean sound. And hold on to your ears.
Tell you what, Lee, I'll bend on that and let it hold for some goodness, and you turn it off halfway through.
Okay. That's it! Look at that! And every single one is individually hand painted, so this will be the only one that looks like this. So if you order one, yours will look a bit different, but they're all beautifully super cool. Runs on batteries.
Could we try that through the overdrive, just as like a top on top of the overdrive channel?
Like a tube screamer effect, yeah.
A lot of tone there.
There's a lot of tone. It's not the cheapest overdrive pedal in the world, but to be honest with you, what do I always say? You can't put a price on a great tone.
He does always say that.
These will fluctuate a little bit depending on the dollar rate, but at the moment these are about £230.